This story was carried orally for centuries, millennia, for however long we don't know, and finally written down when their story, their future, their hope was threatened to be cut off and destroyed forever. And these words endure still. It's amazing. So is it the end or the beginning? I love this from Mark Thrompfeit. Some of you know his wife, Carol. One would expect this to be a bleak period in the life of God's people. Yet, this was the most productive period of Israel's history. It fostered the birth of Judaism. The people came to recognize that God had not been defeated. Indeed, God was the author of these events and could be worshipped apart from the native land and temple and priest and monarch. That means God went with them where they were, in desolate places, in the valley of the shadow of death. God was there. This is a crucial insight for Judaism that was dispersed, or diaspora Judaism, for those living in Babylon and Egypt or elsewhere, deprived of their former institutions. For without a king, Israel remembered that Yahweh had always been their true king. The king images here, this is just what's available. I know we see these sometimes. This is not a political statement whatsoever. It just bears that warning. These are just, I'm talking about the God of Israel here. Without a king, Israel remembered that Yahweh had always been their true king. A burned temple hundreds of miles away meant there were no sacrifices, but the Sabbath could become a time to worship and contemplate God's word in the synagogue. In fact, most of the Old Testament was written, compiled, or edited during exile. I think that is so fascinating. That's one of my favorite foundational stories of the Bible. Could have picked an easier one like Jonah and the whale, but no. The community that went into exile became perhaps the most important Jewish community by which much of the Old Testament was either edited or written. That's from Erdman's Dictionary of the Bible. So this, a singer that I like to listen to, his name is Josh Ritter, he says, you need faith for the same reasons it's so hard to find. And then this writer, Stephanie Saldana from Jerusalem, she's really from Texas, but she married somebody who was going to become a monk. They met in Syria. He didn't become a monk. It's on A Modern Love Story if you want to see it on the New York Times. But she says she's got a book called What We Remember Will Be Saved. I think that's so powerful. What we remember will be saved. What we pass on, it matters. It makes a difference. And it's fun to see that alive here at Mount Olivet. In the beginning, when there was nothing, God made something. In exile, when all seemed lost, God was still making something. Even in our days, in our times, and the hardness we encounter, natural disaster, violence, blips of genetic material, God is still pulling forth creation. Death isn't the end. I think that's really powerful, that God can create from the this of our life, whatever this is. Life will continue despite its many significant challenges. God hasn't given up on us. The poetry of creation finds its cadence with the words of the prophets. In the desolation, in the middle of desolation, right? What does the prophet speak? Comfort. Comfort my people. I love that. So we're turning a little bit in here to Isaiah 40. And I added some bonus Bible for you guys. So just get ready. We're just getting started. So amid destruction and loss, the prophet and priestly writer contend that God cares for God's creation. That's an important story worth passing on. From the beginning to this moment, God is not finished. God will not give up on us. As the prophet continues, have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. So creation is a story worth holding on to, for God is our hope.